Okay, so today we're going to work on just dividing decimals by decimals. And so the objectives are basically the same, divide decimals by decimals, and then using the vocabulary terms divisor, dividend, and quotient. So last class we used some of the steps. Today we're going to use all of the steps. We'll try to estimate. We'll be moving the decimal to the wall, and I'll explain what that means, step 2 means in a moment here. And then we'll rewrite it because it gets a little messy, and then it starts up where we left off last class. So bringing the decimal up to divide the digits, annexing zeros if you need to, and checking to compare with your estimate. So first example here, we've got 1 71/100 divided by 9/10. So first let's try to estimate this. So this is around, I suppose this is more like 2 divided by 1. So our answer is somewhere in the range of 2. Now let's rewrite it in the long division format. So we make sure and put our divisor on the outside. So 9/10 and our dividend in the house. And now we move the decimal to the divide. What we're going to really do, so step 2 is kind of tricky here. Because what we're really doing is we're multiplying everything by a 10 or 100 or something like that. So it's really multiplying by 10 or 100 or etc., whatever number you need. So I need to move this one place value so that I have a whole number, because whole numbers are much easier to work with than decimals. So I'm going to multiply by 10 so that I can move my decimal one place. And I'm going to do the exact same things. If you do it to one thing, you have to do it to the other so that you keep your balance. Okay, so now I'm going to rewrite it. And actually, I'm going to rewrite it so it's 9 divided by, and this is 17.1. And then I need to move my decimal straight up, okay? And keep in mind that you have at least three place values to think about when you're doing your long division. So we've done step 1, we've estimated, we've multiplied by 10 or moved our decimals, and we've brought our decimal up so that it's in our answer spot. Now we can go ahead and do our long division. 9 goes into 1. Doesn't go in evenly, so we're going to put a 0 place value holder there. 9 into 17, 1 time. So 17 minus 9 is 8. Bring our 1 down. 81. 9 goes into 81. 9 times. 9 times 9 is 81. So we're good to go. And our answer then is 1 9/10, which is near our estimate. Okay? So on the next one here, the estimating becomes a lot trickier when you're dealing with division, and I'm going to show you more of a visual estimate on this one. Because we've got 8 and 4/24 divided by something very small. 36/100 are very small. That's like little pennies. Okay, so it's kind of like thinking of $8 and how many groups of 36 pennies can I do? Well, that would be a lot. So it's easier to maybe estimate visually this time, because otherwise it's 8 divided by 1, which is 8. And we know there's more than 8 groups of 36 pennies. So it's maybe close to 8 divided by half. So half, in a picture, I have 8 things here. If I split them in half, there's a better estimate. It's a lot more than 8. Now it's 16. And it's actually quite a bit less than half. So you could maybe do, instead of 2 pieces, here 1, 2, you could do 3 pieces. So if I split them all, I'm going to put a third piece in all of these. Then you have a closer estimate. So how many pieces do I have? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. It's 8 times 3. So it's really more like 24. It's going to be around 24, which is really hard to get from 8 divided by 1. That would get us to thinking it was 8 when it's really 24. So when you're starting to cut things up or divide things like you see in this picture, you have to be really careful with your estimates. So that being said, I want you to focus more on the process and less on estimating for your homework. So I'm saying yes, you do not need to estimate for your homework. Okay, so moving along, let's actually do the long division here. So let's see, putting my divisor outside and my dividend inside. And I need to move 2 places, so I need to multiply by 100. So I'm going to move 2 places, 1, 2. Make sure you do the same thing here, and you can even bring this straight up to the line if you'd like right away. And I like to rewrite it because if it's messy, it's harder for us to do math. So now it's, I always add that 0. Now it's just 36, so I don't need the 0 placeholder. So 36 divided by 842.4. Make sure you put your decimal up at the top here. And keep in mind you have 3 places before and 1 after to think about when you're doing your long division. 36 into 8, not going to happen. Put a placeholder there. 36 into 84, don't know. So we've got to either use some logic, we'll need to use some logic and check our work. So over here we'll do some side work to get this done. Now we have to pick 36. How many times is it goes into 84? Maybe 2, maybe 3 times. So always check what you're doing here. So 2 times 6 is 12. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 72. Okay? So you could stop there and go, yep, that's 2 and 3 won't fit. Or if you're not sure if 3 will fit, just go ahead and do it because we're going to be doing a lot. This is a big problem. So we're going to be doing a few of these. So 6 times 3 is 18. 3 times 3 is 9 plus 1 is 10. So now you know for sure that 72 is the highest without going over with using our whole numbers. So let's see, 36 into 84. 2 times 36, I know is 72 from over there. And subtract. 4 minus 2 is 2, 8 minus 7 is 1. And break down your 2. 122. 36 into 122. Well, I know it's not 2, it's not 3. Well, it could be 3, but could it be 4? Some of you are probably saying nope, and some of you are saying, I don't know. If you're saying I don't know, just do 36 times 4 to check so you don't make a mistake. 6 times 4 is 24, carry the 2. 3 times 4 is 12, 13, 14. There, now you can be sure that 4 is too big. And go ahead and use 3. So 36 into 122, 3 times 36, I know is 108, and subtract. 2 take away 8, I'm going to have to borrow. 12 take away 8 is 4, 1 take away 0 is 1, 1 take away 1 is 0. Take your 4 down and see, even that 4 we did earlier was helpful because now I know 36 goes into 144 exactly 4 times. We got lucky. 4 times 36 we know is 144 and subtract. Okay, so now I know my final answer is 23 4/10, which is close to our visual estimate that we made, 24. Remember, if I would have done 8 divided by 1, I would think, whoa, I'm way wrong. So estimating is a little harder. You have to do a lot more visual thinking when you're doing estimating and dividing. So we're going to focus on just doing the dividing process. Okay, I want you to try the next 2. And so pause the video, take some time, raise your hand when you're done, and have your teacher check your answers. Now, just a couple more because we run into a lot of different problems when we're doing decimal division. It's a little trickier, so we're going to do a few more examples. So 52 divided by 0.4. Again, we're going to focus on not estimating right now, but so if my visual estimate's confusing for you, it's okay. For those of you who understand it, this is 52 divided by half. It means I'm cutting 52 things in half. So I'm going to have about, I'm going to cut them all in half. So I'll have about 104 is my estimate. Okay, so now we can go ahead and divide. So 52 divided by 4. 52 is getting split up. So that goes in the house. And 4/10 is the divisor, so it goes on the outside. Again, I'm going to move my decimal to the wall, which is multiplying by 10. And I'm going to, over here, I don't have a decimal, so, or at least not that I can see. Remember, your decimal's at the end, and you need to move it over 1, even though you don't see it, and annex that 0, and then you can bring it straight up to your line. So you have to do a little extending there. Okay, you can rewrite it, or you can keep going. If it looks really neat, you can keep going. If it's not, make sure you rewrite it, otherwise you make little mistakes. So this is 4 into 5, which is 1 time. 1 times 4 is 4, of course. 5 minus 4 is 1. Bring down the 2. 4 into 12 is 3. Good. 4 times 3 is 12. And voila, we're done. We got to 0. I dragged the 0 down. I'm still at 0. I'm done. Don't forget, you need a place value holder above every number. So if you forget to put your place value here, you're going to think it's 13 when it's really 130. So that is a big error here. Just make sure you have something above every one of your numbers so you don't miss that 130, which is sort of close to 104. It's not too far away. Okay, so let's try one more like that. All right. Putting the divisor, this is my groups, very small groups. And here's my divisor, 1800ths. And going ahead and I'm going to need to move that decimal twice, bring it up. And now I have 18. Now again, keep putting your little lines up there so you can remember to fill everything in. 18 into 0, 0 times 18 into 0, 0 times 18 into a bunch of zeros, still 0. So that's good. We know there's no whole numbers there. 18 into 9, still not going to work. So I need to annex that 0 on the end so I can keep going. 18 into 90. Now that's a little trickier, so I'm going to do some side work. 18 times what's going to get me close to 90? Some of you might be thinking 4 or 5, or if you don't know, just start somewhere and get it figured out. So let's start with 4. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 1 is 4, 5, 6, 7. 72. Well, that's close to 90. Can I fit another one in there? I don't know. Let's check. 18 times 5. 8 times 5 is 40. 5 times 1 is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 90. Oh, it fits in there perfectly. See? Got to go that one extra step so you don't miss it. 18 into 90, 5 times. And we know that's 90. So we are complete. And now you can look up here and notice you don't need this one or this one. It's 0 and 5/100. It's your final answer. Okay, pause the video and why don't you try just 2 of these. So pick 2 out of these 3 to do. Lastly, we're going to do a word problem. There are 127 4/10 million internet users in Japan and 40 4/10 in Spain. How many times as many internet users are there in Japan than in Spain? That question there is hard to read, so I'm going to read it again. How many times as many internet users are there in Japan than there is in Spain? So I added some extra words to help myself. Round to the nearest tenth. So that tells me later I can stop at some point with my dividing. I don't have to go all the way till it finally gets to that 0. So we'll worry about that when we divide. But how are we going to set this up? Is this a multiplication or a division problem? Because I see the word times, so that might make me think multiplying, but it's in that question, so I know it's a division problem. And now I have 2 division problems to pick. It's 127 and 4/10 divided by 40 and 4/10, or is it the opposite? Is it 40 and 4/10 divided by 127 and 4/10. Which way is it? Well, I want to know, that's where you look at the question. How many times as many internet users in Japan than in Spain? So we have to think about, what does that mean? Do I want to know Japan times Spain or Spain times Japan? We want to know we want to know how many times bigger is this Japan number than this Spain number. So we do not need to know about how many times this one will fit into Spain. Okay, so now we've figured out our problem, and we can go ahead and do our division. So now we have to actually do the problem, so I'm going to set it up in long division format. So let's see, put the divisor on the outside and the dividend on the inside. Now I need to move my decimal so I can work with whole numbers. One place here, so one place here, and you can bring it up. And you can rewrite it if you need to. Otherwise, make sure you have 4 spaces before that decimal, and then if you need more, you can add more. So 404 into 1 is not going to work evenly. 404 into 12, again, not evenly. 127, not evenly. 1,274, that should work. So now I'll go do some side work and figure out, you might know that it probably goes in there about 3 times. And so if you know that, pick 3 to start with. And maybe even do it in your head. But if you can't, just off to the side. We all do side work when we need to. So 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times, carry the 1. 3 times 0 is 0 plus 1. 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, so 1,212. That's going to go in here. I know I'm not going to be able to fit another 400 in there. So 404 goes into 1,274 3 times. 3 times 404, we did already, it's 1,212. And subtract. 4 take away is 2 is 2. 7 take away 1 is 6. 12 take away 12 is 0. And we've got a remainder of 62. Now, what I forgot to point out when I was setting this up is if you don't miss this direction here, round to the nearest tenth. That means when I'm looking up here, I need to go to my tenth, because I need that in my answer. It says to the nearest tenth. And in order to round, I need to know what my hundredth says over here. So we have to get that far and we can stop. We do not need to go further because of the direction of rounding. So let's finish this up. In order to do that, I need to have 2 place value holders under there. So I'm going to drop 1 0 down and move on. 404 into 620. I think most of you know it will only go in there once. So 404 and subtract. So I need to borrow. 10 minus 4 is 6. 1 minus 0 is 1. 6 minus 4 is 2. And I still have one more to do. 404 into 2,160. Well, I know it's more than 3, so what is it? Should we try 404 times 4 or 404 times 5? So you have to make that decision. So I kind of look at 212, or I need to get to 2,100 something, and I have 1,200. I can fit at least maybe 2 of those in there. So I'm going to try 5 first and see how it goes. Whoops. Times 5. So 4 times 5 is 20. 5 times 0 is 0. So it's just 2. 5 times 4 is 20. 20, 20. Okay. That will work. That is less than what we've got here. So 404 into 2,160, about 5 times, which is 2,020. And from here, I'm done. I don't really need to go on because I don't care about the remainder. I've got what I need up here. So I go ahead and I can stop and find my answer. Now, to do that, I need to look at the answer is about, we can finish it, 3 15/100ths, and I can round to the nearest tenth. So I have to decide, do I round up or do I round down? because it's a 5. So, well, and that's a choice you need to make. So I usually round up. You can round up or down. So I could see this being 3 1/10 or 3 2/10. Either way. And then you can go ahead and finish your sentence. So there are 3, and then pick one of those. 2/10 times as many internet users in Japan as in Spain. And there's your final solution.